go.
Okay, good evening, and welcome to my speech for Communication 205. If you could greet the camera and make sure you're actually here.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so this speech is titled The Beauty and the Truth Behind Japanese Culture. So, Japan is a very beautiful place, home to many different locations that attract foreigners from all across the globe. That includes Shibuya Station and Tokyo City because of its very innovative and futuristic look. I, for one, have always wanted to go to Japan, as we already know, because, it's produced one of the things that's one of the biggest parts about me, anime, and I've always wanted to visit because of that, and I'm sure that you guys have probably wanted to go too because of the culture. And because I've been interested in it for so long, I've done quite a number of research on the country, and I've come to a pretty interesting conclusion. And although Japanese culture and the environment is very stunning and just beautiful all around, it is important to not idolize the culture because it has faults just like any other country, especially the US. And so in this speech, I'll go over the misunderstandings regarding the Japanese culture, such as the crime rate and the poor work-life balance. So let us begin. Although their title of being one of the most peaceful countries in the world isn't entirely true given the rate of murder or robbery or crimes such as this, the truth of justice in the country is typically disregarded. Cases of sexual assault, for example, are usually left unreported in Japan and many other Asian countries such as China and South Korea. According to Nippon.com, a website that specializes in Japanese culture, cases of rape have increased by 2,711, and indecent assault rose by 6,096 from 2022 to 2023. Now, there was a new Japanese penal code that was established, and it is said that it created an easier environment for people to report these cases, which resulted in the increase of them. A survey that was conducted by the National Police Agency concluded that 64.7% of Japanese people thought that it was a safe country. This seems like a good metric, but it is disappointing compared to the survey taken from 2021, which shows an 11.2-point decrease, meaning that in 2023 this rate was increased. Researched by the Human Rights Watch, the Japanese legal system automatically or systematically targets those who are accused of crimes. There's actually a Japanese word for this. It is called hitochishi shiho, which translates to hostage justice system. False accusations that lead people into the unfairness of the system also has a Japanese word, which is called ensai. Similarly to the US, even when defendants are found innocent in a case, their lives are still destroyed in the views of the public, and their reputations are really hard to get back. The US Embassy in Japan states that a prosecutor does not tackle a case that they are convinced they cannot win. This is because if the accused is indicted, the chance of conviction for the individual is increased nearly to absolution. The conviction rate in Japan is actually above 99%, almost like 99.7%. After indictment, defendants will be transported to detention prisons or police stations where they're going to be held for the duration of their trial. Here, they are held at conditions of mistreatment, and thus they are forced into forced confessions, which results in the very high conviction rate. So, the Japanese work-life balance is notably unbearable for the middle working class. Japanese travel blog written by Daniel Healy reports that long work hours contributes to a slew of mental health issues, which eventually leads to burnout. Burnout can lead to severe depression and even suicide in extreme cases, And it is noted in the same article that Japan has some of the highest suicide rates of any well-established nation in the world. Rapidly aging and rapidly decreasing birth rates are also affected by this burnout, because higher stress levels and tiring lives can lead to people feeling demotivated to start a family. There's also a Japanese word for this. It is called karoshi, which translates to death from overwork. People are expected to work until they physically cannot anymore, which, again, typically leads to their death or suicide. Taking time off for mental health therapy is also seen very poorly in the culture, and also leads people to feel guilty or even ashamed for trying to seek help for their mental issues. A rigid hierarchy in Japanese workplaces put juniors at a severe disadvantage at the grace of their seniors. One misstep can send a junior all the way to the bottom of the ladder, regardless of how long they've been working there or how hard they've been working there. This also leads to bullying and discrimination within the workplace, because those people that are not working as hard will be set aside and bullied by their coworkers because they are not conforming to the societal norm. So, overall, Japanese culture has some common misconceptions that mustn't be disregarded when referring to the country. Today I discussed the misunderstandings related to the Japanese justice system and the poor work-life balance for workers across the country. It cannot be denied that Japan is a very beautiful place, and their culture is even more magnetizing. However, it's equally as important to recognize its faults, and that it possesses the same faults as any other country. In any case, this information is not to deter you from traveling to Japan. I know it sure won't for me, but we definitely need to consider them before we try to idolize the culture. So, do you have any questions?
What's the biggest city in Japan
By population or by area?
by population?
I would say it's probably Tokyo, just because it's the capital of the nation. But it's also pretty well distributed with rural areas as well. So, but just by population, I would say Tokyo. So, and that is all. Thank you.